When I was being trafficked in Vermont, I was a minor, I was 15 years old. And every time when I was in my home in Maine and I knew that we were going to be brought to Vermont, I became frightened because it was the one place where I knew we would be brought that I never knew if I was going to end up coming home or not. The people who purchased me, none of them cared about me. None of them cared about who I was or how old I was or if I wanted to be there. They had an agenda, which sometimes can be brutally violent. I know that other survivors that I have mentored and worked with have been brought to Vermont in many areas: homes, hotels, motels, massage parlors, strip clubs, bachelor parties. I can honestly say that 100% of the women that I worked with, and I worked with close to 1,000 people, and I have not personally met even one person who has said that they wanted to be there and that this was empowering for them or exciting or something they loved doing. Not one.
When you are talking about prostitution, you are talking about a system of brutal exploitation.
The women that I encounter, they are so beaten, so traumatized.
The vast majority have been abused, manipulated, forced into it, or they're trapped by circumstance.
And those who are being bought are women and girls of color who are mostly poor.
That I was turned out when I was 14 years old. Every time I tried to run away, there was no resources for me. Not a day that I've ever spent in the life of prostitution was okay for me.
And then 99% of the buyers are men.
You can't fully achieve equality between men and women while there is this gender-based form of exploitation.
The problem originates with men. So unless we tackle the issue of demand, there's going to be generation after generation of vulnerable populations who are hurt in precisely this way.
Every single policymaker needs to go to a hobby board where these buyers congregate and read what they have to say. Time and again, they are demonstrating that what they feel they are buying is a commodity, not a human being.
A lot of men are deterred from engaging in prostitution because it's illegal. And if you were to take that illegality out of the equation, you would have an increase in demand. In order to meet that demand, you would have a supply that would need to increase.
A study from the London School of Economics analyzed 150 countries. Wherever prostitution was legal, demand for it skyrocketed and sex trafficking increased.
I was actually trafficked through the legal system of prostitution in Nevada in the brothels. And because of that legal market, the sex trade in Nevada is 63% higher than the next highest state.
Nevada's number 2 in the country for women to be murdered by men, number 6 in the country for women to be raped by men, in the top 10 for youth to be trafficked.
Rhode Island decriminalized prostitution in 1980 and then ended it in 2009. It was becoming a sex tourist destination. It started attracting organized crime, and because the local law enforcement simply couldn't investigate prostitution, the state could not participate in federal investigations of sex trafficking of minors.
Legalization, full decriminalization, these have been tried and they have failed. Both remove restrictions on pimps, sex buyers, and brothel keepers, especially full decriminalization, where there are virtually no regulations so they can exploit with impunity.
So if you're considering legalizing prostitution, my message is talk to survivors of trafficking, talk to people who have walked through this, talk to people who have experienced this firsthand, not just people who are advocating for decriminalization.
People say it's the oldest profession. It's actually the oldest oppression.